Right, this is day, well, the next update for 3D rigging systems, and this time I've got a basic car rig going on here. So the first stage is I've rigged all the parts that basically have a rotate pivot or pivot on a rotate, and that's the most basic things. So first up is, the other thing is we've created these controllers, so these arrows here are just EP curves, which you can find on the curve shelf, and they've been drawn out just to allow you to control different parts of the vehicle without directly interacting with the vehicle. So this EP curve here is constrained to the two front wheels, and the constraint here is using orient. So I'll just open up this options. So it's orienting itself, the wheels are orienting to the y-axis of this constraint. So when we rotate the constraint, the wheels will follow it independently, and they will independently rotate, you know, accordingly to wherever this controller is. And we can just reset that controller and the wheels will reset themselves, so we're not messing about. The other thing to know is that you want to make sure the pivot points of the wheels are in the correct places, otherwise it won't work properly. So we can just bring this back to no rotation, and that will bring them back. So that's one controller that controls the steering. The other simple controllers are these windscreen wipers here. Yeah, I forgot to say, the other thing is I've also limited the information again. So it's between -18 and +18, that's as far as it goes. I could be a bit more generous to how much limitation there is, but the wheels would end up clipping through the geometry, so just make sure that doesn't happen. The next controller are these windscreen wipers, and for these I've just used another arrow for the controller, and this time I've just put an arc here to sort of represent how far you can rotate. So it's about 90 degrees or so, and you can pretty easily animate this controller, and that would animate the windscreen wipers, and the same goes for the right one, as you can see. This controller here is not yet implemented, but the idea is when you move this one, it will move the entire vehicle and the controllers with it, so you can just test that the wheels go around, or you know, if you're animating it through an animation, you can move it to wherever you want and it will move automatically, or the wheels will go around as you move it automatically. I haven't quite worked that out yet, that's the next step. The next two controllers are three are the doors. So for this I was thinking the best way to sort of show this, because ideally you want to have your controllers show what they do. So this one, as you can see, it sort of represents the position of the door. So the arc is showing you the rotation of the door. Meanwhile, the arrow is pointing to, well, sort of mimics where the door is at. So that works quite well, and I'm pretty happy with how that came out. And the same goes for this door. And this door's slightly different because it opens a few more degrees than the side doors, and works similar. Now the last little thing I decided to rig was this little antenna on the roof, just for a bit of fun, since you can then, and this is using not an orient but an aim constraint. So again, similar to the first video where I used aim constraints, the pivot point down here is aiming to the center pivot of this controller, This controller can adjust where this antenna is, but it's pretty pointless. But it might be good if you're, you know, if you're animating the vehicle and then it sort of goes over bumpy terrain, this wiggles slightly or something like that. So yeah, that's about it. To come is, I was experimenting with trying to get a steering wheel controller to work, where you would turn this controller and then that would turn the steering wheel inside here, and then that would effectively make this controller move, or vice versa. When you rotate that, that would rotate the steering wheel, but again, I haven't quite worked that out, and that is to come. So yeah, that's about it for now, and then I'll keep you updated in the next few days.